everyone.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania's Disney Plus release date broke an important record for Marvel Studios, and it appears to signal a major change in their strategy going forward for the Marvel movies and the releases onto Disney Plus. Ant-Man 3's Disney Plus release comes as a frustrating record breaker for the MCU Disney Plus releases, serving as the longest wait yet for one of the Red Brand's movies to come out to the streamers since the service has launched. For reference, other MCU movies in the recent, and how long it took for them to go from the theaters and to come onto Disney Plus, would start with Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, taking 70 days from theaters to Disney Plus, 68 days for Eternals. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness took 47 days, Thor Love and Thunder took 62, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever took 82 days. Doctor Strange 2 managed to turn over an impressive box office result of $95 million, making it the second highest grossing movie of Phase 4 behind only Spider-Man No Way Home, but it likely could have continued to gross more if it and other MCU releases around it remained as theatrical exclusives for a little bit longer. This may be among the reasons that Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania have been pushed to its Disney Plus release of a little bit later than ever, with the shrinking threequel hitting the streamer on this Wednesday, May 17th, 89 days after its theatrical release, now being the longest since it's taken Marvel Studios to go from a theater to the Disney Plus. Doctor Strange 2 hit Disney Plus just 47 days after it had come out in theaters. While that window has varied from movie to movie, but that was by far the lowest day count, with Ant-Man 3 and now waiting 89 days and Black Panther 2 holding for 80. In those extra 33 days that Black Panther 2 had remained in theaters and as an exclusive compared to Doctor Strange 2, the movie brought in a further $22 million domestically and $18 million higher than the $4 million extra that Multiverse of Madness managed to gross in the 33 days after it had come out to Disney Plus. That would seem to indicate the earlier Disney Plus releases lost Disney and Marvel Studios a significant amount of money, and I wonder why. That's just looking at the domestic figures, with that total likely climbing far higher with a worldwide numbers being included with that. And so why is this surprising? Or why is it not surprising? Of course, if these movies are just going to simply be available from a click of a button for $7.99 a month on Disney Plus, people are much more rather to just go ahead and watch it from there than to make a trip going out to a theater and everything like that. Black Panther Wakanda Forever breaking the MC record for the longest theatrical to go to Disney Plus window since the service has launched had many thinking that Disney was trying to allow more time to occur the box office revenue due to the movie's massive success and how well the 2018 original had performed for Black Panther 1. However, seeing that Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania not just that match but even exceeded that window's signals a bigger change in that strategy. After all, neither of the first two Ant-Man movies have been particular box office hits, and Ant-Man 3 came to be a huge box office disappointment all around, comparably to other Marvel movies in the recent. So with these longer theatrical windows being applied to both the MCU's biggest hits and most unfortunate disappointments, perhaps Disney and Marvel are trying to gradually recondition audiences to make the trip to theaters for its movies, as opposed to holding out for those few short months to watch it at home, especially now that COVID-19 has kind of gone away now. There are a number of reasons why the urgency to see Marvel Studios' latest releases may have declined in the recent. The shorter wait for home viewing, certainly among the biggest, is one of those, but the massive influx of MCU content and arguable a drop in consistent quality are certainly other major factors to consider. Marvel Studios and Disney appear to be seeking a return to the pre-pandemic status quo of movies flowing to the theaters, going from the theaters to a digital release to Blu-ray and then finally going to the streaming service. This system seems optimal to preserve theaters and their profits while also keeping Disney Plus populated with its content, although Disney Plus isn't necessarily getting all of that revenue from just the movies. There's plenty of shows and even specials that they should continue doing, like the Werewolf by Night. This also comes as Marvel Studios takes strides to transition into quality over quantity after its Phase 4 approach following backlash to Phase 4. Even on the streaming original side, the MCU's next Disney Plus series, Secret Invasion, will mark the longest gap yet between its streaming originals since the Phase 4 had begun. Marvel Studios aren't the only ones at Disney looking to change strategy after former CEO Bob Chapek caused a significant damage to the brand. Along with the shortening theatrical to home release windows, Chapek had sent most of the animated releases straight to Disney Plus, only releasing them on Disney Plus and not ever putting them in the theaters, which of course has caused a lasting damage as Disney's animated movies have struggled to return to its pre-pandemic box office standards. And even then, if I'm being honest, I honestly miss those animated movies in theaters, and I'm glad that they're coming back. It will likely take a long time to restore the audience's mindset to view these animated movies as a theatrical-worthy thing, and just as special as live action. Perhaps after enough time of releasing animated flicks from Pixar and other studios as theatrical exclusives with longer home releases for those that are waiting at home and waiting for them to only just come to Disney Plus, box office results will begin to improve, of course. Disney is also making great efforts to preserve Avatar: The Way of Water as a theatrical event, with the movie still not on Disney Plus over 146 days after its release in theaters. These efforts have clearly paid off, as the movie has grossed over $2 billion and has become the third highest grossing release of all time worldwide. The House of Mouse's efforts to shift focus from streaming to theaters represents part of a larger movement on this front across Hollywood overall, not just within Disney. For example, Paramount didn't drop its biggest hit of last year, Top Gun Maverick, onto its Paramount Plus streaming service until December 22nd, 209 days after its May 27th release. HBO Max appears to be taking on a similar action, with Shazam 2 not coming to the rebranded Max for 67 days after its release, despite how poorly that movie had even actually performed in the theaters, marking a gradual step up from Black Adam's 56 days and The Batman's 45 days. Granted, these windows may not be as long as Disney or Paramount, but it marks a huge improvement from the same-day theatrical and streaming releases that Warner Bros. Had in 2021. Streaming was a powerful tool for Hollywood to keep delivering movies and shows and content through the pandemic, and as the theaters begin to recover and are coming back, this worked out partially well, as services were already beginning to push streaming original series and movies with effects, actors, and budgets on par with the big screen. And clearly theaters are alive and well, as event-level movies such as Avatar: The Way of Water, Top Gun Maverick, and Spider-Man No Way Home have all been able to bring in record-breaking numbers. The struggle Hollywood now has is getting audiences back into theaters on a more regular basis for more standard releases, just as they did before the worldwide shutdown. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next video. This has been Unofficial MCU on a little bit about what we're seeing going forward with Marvel and their releases on Disney Plus, from bringing those theatrical releases to the streaming service, and kind of seeing that gap between those days getting longer and longer, and the reason behind it. I'll catch you guys in the next video. This has been Unofficial MCU. Have a great one, guys. Peace out.